for the Turks. Your government is fooling you into believing that one day you will become a member of the European Union. Well, forget it. You are no Europeans, and you will never be. An Islamic state like Turkey does not belong to Europe. All the values Europe stands for, freedom, democracy, human rights, are incompatible with Islam.
A country where crime rates are falling, economic stability is strong, and integration programs actually work. This is the Netherlands, a nation facing down the challenges of immigration with resilience and smart policies. How is it that the Netherlands is succeeding where so many others have struggled? In Nouadhibou, Mauritania, thousands of ships are waiting to be filled with migrants and then transported to Europe by the sea rescuers. Who has provided the boats? First off, let's get a clear picture of what's going on. The Netherlands, like many other European countries, has seen a steady flow of immigrants over the years. These immigrants come seeking better economic opportunities, safety, and a higher quality of life. While this sounds fair, it brings a lot of challenges too. The Dutch government has had to balance the needs of these newcomers with the concerns of its citizens, and it's not always easy and leads to a lot of chaos and fights. Now, when looking at other European countries like Germany, France, and Sweden, similar patterns can be seen, but with varying degrees of impact. For instance, Sweden has faced significant issues with integrating immigrants, leading to social tensions and rising crime rates in certain areas. France has its own struggles, with immigrant communities often feeling marginalized and facing discrimination, which sometimes results in social unrest. Germany, while economically robust, has faced political backlash and growing support for far-right parties due to immigration concerns. Compared to these countries, the Netherlands has managed relatively well. However, it's not without its issues. One of the main concerns is the integration of Moroccan and North African immigrants. While many have successfully integrated and contribute positively to society, there's a growing segment involved in organized crime, particularly the infamous Mafia. This group has been linked to drug trafficking and violent crimes, which understandably worries a lot of people. In areas like southeastern Amsterdam, the impact of this crime wave is evident. There have been increasing reports of violent attacks and even gang-related crimes. It's alarming, and it paints a picture of a society struggling to maintain control over these criminal elements. These issues aren't just about numbers or statistics. They affect real people's lives. Businesses suffer from extortion and violence. Families feel less safe, and the overall sense of community is threatened. This situation fuels the argument for stricter immigration controls and more rigorous enforcement of existing laws. Another point to consider is the economic strain. While the Dutch economy is strong, the influx of immigrants can put pressure on public services like housing, healthcare, and education. It's essential to ensure that these systems can cope without compromising the quality of life for everyone. This is where the argument for tighter visa regulations gains traction. Over the past few years, there's been a noticeable increase in certain types of crime, especially violent and organized crime. While the Netherlands is still one of the safer countries in Europe, there's been a worrying trend. Since 2016, the number of criminal cases has been creeping up again. And it's not just petty crimes we're talking about. This is where the Mafia comes into play. This criminal organization, primarily composed of individuals of Moroccan descent, has been a major player in the rise of organized crime. The Mafia is heavily involved in illicit crimes. Their activities have brought a new level of violence to the streets of Dutch cities, particularly in areas like Amsterdam and Rotterdam.
The new rules come into effect in 2026, and the deal's passage comes ahead of Europe-wide elections next month, in which immigration is playing a major role.
In 2012, Amsterdam witnessed a shootout involving members of this mafia. This kind of violence was unprecedented in the Netherlands at that time.
Sparked a lot of shock and outrage in the Netherlands. This Dutch lawyer, Dirk Wiersum, was defending a Crown witness in a major gangland investigation. It's believed
The violence didn't stop there. In 2019, the lawyer of a key witness's life was taken on his doorstep. And in 2021, an investigative journalist who had been uncovering details about the Mafia was gunned down in broad daylight at a coffee shop in Amsterdam. These incidents have created a growing sense of fear and insecurity among the Dutch public.
Wiersum was representing Nabil B., a key witness in a case against a gang leader called Ridwan Taghi, who's accused of suspected of orchestrating a string of...
These examples highlight the severity of the situation. The Mafia isn't just a small-time gang. It's a well-organized, highly dangerous criminal enterprise that has deeply infiltrated Dutch society. It's clear that part of the solution to these crime and security issues lies in better control of who enters the country. While it's crucial to acknowledge that not all immigrants are involved in crime, there is a small but significant number who are, and their impact on society is disproportionately large.
Migrants crossed into the country before noon today. Some were minutes too late.
The Dutch government has already implemented various policies to manage immigration and tackle crime. For instance, they've tightened border controls and increased surveillance at key points of entry, such as airports and ports. This is partly in response to the increasing drug trafficking issues, particularly in the ports of Rotterdam and Amsterdam, where the infamous Mafia operates.
Plan to follow in the footsteps of Denmark, which negotiated a deal to be excluded from the EU's asylum policies. But an EU spokesperson appeared to pour cold water on that idea, but added he would wait to hear exactly what the Dutch government had in mind.
Now, looking at the proposed measures, the government is considering even stricter immigration policies. This includes more rigorous background checks for visa applicants, particularly those from high-risk regions. The idea is to prevent individuals with potential criminal ties from entering the country in the first place. There's also talk of tougher penalties for those involved in organized crime to deter such activities and make it clear that the Netherlands will not tolerate such behavior.
The Prime Minister of the Netherlands next year, after I would win the elections, close the Dutch border.
Geert Wilders, of course, has a very clear stance on these issues. His position is straightforward. He wants to see a significant reduction in immigration, which he believes are contributing to the rise in crime and social unrest. Wilders argues that the Netherlands needs to prioritize its security and cultural integrity. And to do this, it must implement stricter immigration controls.
With a lot of responsibility, people expect our agenda of hope, tougher asylum and immigration policy.
Nicknamed Dutch Trump for this.
Wilders has also been vocal about the need for more aggressive crime prevention measures. He supports harsher penalties for criminals and advocates for a more proactive approach to dismantling organized crime networks. According to him, the current efforts are not enough, and the government needs to take a tougher stance to protect its citizens.
That's 100,000 people, twice the size of the Dutch army. Let me finish my sentence. And they think it's justified in the Netherlands to use violence.
In Wilders' view, the key to tackling these challenges is not just about increasing law enforcement, but also about addressing the root causes, such as crime. This means taking a hard look at immigration policies and ensuring that those who come to the Netherlands are willing to integrate and contribute positively to society. He believes that by doing so, the country can prevent the kind of crime and social issues seen in other parts of Europe.
2. Sluit onze grenzen onmiddellijk voor asielzoekers en immigranten.
Looking ahead, the future outlook for immigration and security in the Netherlands appears cautiously optimistic. The country has already shown resilience in handling various challenges, and there is no reason to believe that it won't continue to do so. By maintaining strict immigration controls and focusing on integrating those who do immigrate, the Netherlands can avoid the pitfalls seen in other European countries.
Uit islamitische landen, zeg Schengen op en voer weer eigen grenscontroles in.
Moreover, continued investment in law enforcement and technological advancements will help the Netherlands stay ahead of organized crime. The government's efforts to increase police presence in high-risk areas and to equip them with the latest tools and technologies are steps in the right direction. These measures will help curb the influence of criminal organizations like the Mafia and ensure that Dutch streets remain safe. What are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.